It's Monday, August 5th, and this is Markets Daily, hosted by me, Jen Sanasi. On this show, we navigate the currents shaping the crypto markets, providing insights against the broader financial landscape. So, whether you're actively trading or simply fascinated by the volatility of crypto markets, this show is your compass to understanding what's happened, where we are, and where we're going. Good morning, everyone. On today's show, BitGet CEO Gracy Chen joins us. Gracy, hi.
Hi, thank you for having me.
First of all, Gracie, I want to say congratulations on becoming the CEO of BitGet. I think the last time we spoke, you were managing director, so congratulations on that.
Thank you. That was a very recent promotion in May.
Yeah. All right. Well, you've been promoted recently. I've been following your journeys at the Olympics in Paris. But the first thing that we got to talk about is the market downturn. Bitcoin is down more than 15% last I checked. Ether down more than 20%. The CoinDesk 20 index, which follows 20 cryptocurrencies, is also down around 20%. As a CEO of a crypto exchange, how are you watching the markets this morning?
Yeah, like you said, the major mainstream crypto assets have been fallen sharply over the past 24 hours. Right now, we check out a few data points. For example, how much the contract or the derivative market have been seeing some burst, and there were lots of long positioning people who can margin call. And then according to this data set from the alternative.me, where they track the panic index. So the market panic index has dropped to 26, which means it's in a panic mood. And the core reason, in my opinion, behind all these changes is number one, the global capital market sentiment soared. For example, people have been saying that the U.S. economy is facing recession, and the U.S. stock market fell for 3 consecutive trading days. The Japanese stock market also fell for 2 consecutive days. So this big macroeconomy downward pressure has been also causing the whole crypto market sell off. And then the second reason, I would say some emotional impact from large institutions. For example, outside of crypto, there is Berkshire Hathaway, who released their Q2 report, where what we see is that the cash portion is a new high in recent years, meaning that they have been selling off lots of their equity assets. For example, Q2, they sold off Apple. They also sold off Bank of America in the last 12 trading days. And then inside crypto, there's also been saying that Jump Crypto, the very leading market maker, or used to be a very leading market maker in our space, who sold lots of Ethereum today. And it's not jumped. I was also checking some other news resource, which says it's actually 5 major market makers, including Jump, including Wintermute, including Animoca, who are selling their Ethereum. And that indeed caused the Ethereum price to fall more than, for example, Bitcoin and Solana.
I want to talk about a few things you mentioned there. Let's start first with the recession. I know that economists have been calling for a recession for quite a while now. And although there have been times where it might feel like we're in a recession here in the United States, it hasn't come yet. Do you think that a recession is coming in the next year? And if so, how do you think crypto markets would react?
That's a good question. I'm not a macroeconomist. So in terms of recession, what I read or I heard is that it's happening. And also there are certain markets whose recession or whose economy downturn is actually much more serious than the US. So US is, of course, the largest financial economy out there. And that's why people have been watching it closely. But I think there are some Asian markets, there's some European markets who are doing pretty bad right now. So if I personally give it a hit, I would say yes. I personally think it is going to be a recession. And then what does recession mean to crypto? I would say it's generally negative because the whole market, the whole economy, or the whole financial market right now links to each other very closely. And cryptocurrency is not what it was when Bitcoin just came out 15 years ago, where it's like a standalone, very anti-risk. For example, it was called an anti-risk asset for a moment, but right now it's so connected with the global market. And the fact, for example, BTC ETF and Ethereum ETF have been approved by SEC. Sorry, I'll take it back. The Ethereum ETF is not fully approval. It's not listed yet. Oh, sorry, it is listed. No, it is listed. Yeah. So the fact that the Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF have been approved in the US and in certain other markets also make it much more linked to the TradFi industry. Yeah. So generally, I would say this is going to be very tricky. However, the fact that the U.S. is thinking about interest rate cut, that's another factor coming into the space, because what we've been hearing is that in September there can be a very high possibility of a 50 bips interest rate cut. And also today we were just discussing, right, whether this is a urgent interest rate cut call, and that may happen before September. Then in that case, this is going to be more of a bullish thing for cryptocurrency. But generally, I think cryptocurrency market is not broken. It's not like bloody. And that's why I also tweeted a meme sticker that I made myself, which is people were saying, buy crypto, like goodbye, buy crypto, and Gracie is saying buy crypto, like buy more, because this is probably a good time to accumulate more.
So you are in the buy the dip camp.
I am in the buy and dip camp, and I've been buying even if it was like 60K or so. And we see that happening in many other companies like MicroStrategy, like many other bigger listed firms. So I don't think I'm the only person in this camp. But however, right now Bitcoin is traded. Let's see. So right now it's at 52,000, and it reached 50. It touched 50K today. I was actually just exiting, like just landed in Asia. And I opened my phone and I saw, oh my God, we just touched a 50K. And I think this may not be the lowest point that we see in this week. I do doubt, yeah, 52 or 50 is the lowest point already. But I think this week is
How
going to
low
be
do you
quite
think?
fluctuated. It can be as low as
How
40
low do you
something.
think we go?
I think 43, 45, that's probably or even 47, that's probably another price point that I myself is looking at in terms of buying more Bitcoin for my personal portfolio. But again, no financial advice, and it's all like very personal decision. It's not even, from my research team. I haven't discussed this, very much detailed with them in terms of our outlook for the Bitcoin price. But as a personal investor, I think like 47-ish is a price point that I might want to buy more.
Well, we mentioned some of the macroeconomic trends. There are tensions in the Middle East. Investor confidence in the global economy is lowered. That's being reflected in the price of all the top cryptos this morning. You just mentioned you think it's probably going to go into the 40s. Now, traditionally, the time of the year we're going into, the markets are higher. Where do you think we go from there? If once we hit that low point in the 40s, everyone's buying the dip. Where does the price of Bitcoin go by the end of the year, do you think, as an investor?
Yeah, as an investor, I think there are certain things that we need to observe closely. Number one is like how, for example, especially this week is going to be very crucial. It may go down for 1 or 2 days or just the whole week, and what price point does it touch? Well, kind of balance the whole, for example, the derivative market in terms of who are having the long position, who are having the short position, and then hopefully, reduce the selling pressure for future rises and really form a really fast rising market. I think that's one key factor in terms of formation of a rapid rise in the market. And the second thing that we are observing is, of course, still the macro economy, whether the U.S. is doing the interest rate cut, at what number, at what time, whether presidential election means anything to crypto. Obviously, right now the both presidential candidates are very active in the space. Donald Trump just gave a speech in Nashville last week. I was in Paris with a group of crypto leaders. I'm not going to name them because they're just names that you will be able to recognize. But we were just discussing, and we were watching the speech together, and we were also discussing that that he probably didn't even say lots of substance there, but the fact that he went to the Bitcoin conference means something.
Okay, so you mentioned that you were in Paris with a group of crypto leaders. We won't mention who they are. You watched Trump give the speech at the Bitcoin conference in Nashville. I believe that there were representatives from both the Democratic and Republican Party, although Harris didn't speak at the conference. Talk to me a little bit more about the chatter. What were the leaders that you were hanging out with in Paris saying about the upcoming elections? What were they saying about Trump's speech?
First of all, I'm not a U.S. citizen, and I don't, really watch the election very closely. And I'm not, of course, not a voter, not qualified to be a voter. But I think before Harris stepped in, when it was Donald Trump versus Biden, people were really thinking, Donald Trump is going to win, and if he wins, it's going to be quite bullish for the crypto market because he has been more friendly to our space. And for the past few years, Biden has been with his, all these administrators have been kind of like crushing down the industry. Yeah, so it was the sentiment before Biden stepped down. But when Harris was there, I think people were, finding it more interesting and more of a competition. And if you refer to, for example, poly market, some of those prediction market right now, the rate of who is going to be a president is actually quite close. With that said, I think our sentiment what we were discussing in Paris is very much, number one, we were watching the game, but we were watching the speech, but we also realized that Donald Trump didn't really say anything that is very substantial. There were rumors that he may make Bitcoin as a treasury, which of course didn't happen. And there were also discussions around, making it more of a national asset, whatever. But what Donald Trump did say in the speech, which you can refer to the speech, number one, he said he would fire Gary Gensler if he were the president. And number two, the U.S. market or the U.S. government won't sell Bitcoin if he were the market, or if he were the president. Again, he was in a Bitcoin conference, and I think he knew what the audience is expecting or what the audience wants to hear. But we do think, he has mentioned something, although not very important substance, but the fact that he was in this Bitcoin conference means something to our industry already.
Gracy, thanks you so much for joining Markets Daily this morning and providing insight into the markets. I hope you have fun buying the dip, and I'll be crossing my fingers that maybe your predictions don't come true. We don't get to as low as 42K.
All right. Thank you for having me.
And to everyone who is listening and watching, thank you so much for coming on this journey with me to better understand the crypto markets. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe to the CoinDesk Podcast Network on all of the podcast platforms. Give us a 5-star rating. And if you prefer to watch videos, subscribe on YouTube and hit that like button. Your support means the world to us. We hope you have a fantastic day, and we'll see you tomorrow.